This week's champion trends feature Leona, Olaf, Vi, Cassiopeia, Yasuo, and Nasus. I'm Linda Geektron, and this is LoLKing's League Trends. Let's dive into Summoner's Rift. The increases in pick rate for this week were headed up by Kha'Zix again with another 4.33% change, followed by Thresh, Vi, Gragas, and Leona, rounding out the top 5. This Sun Goddess has been on the rise ever since the preseason patch. She is now considered one of the strongest supports on the Rift. Leona's drawback used to be if she didn't get far enough ahead in lane, she wouldn't have the money to be tanky for the mid game. But now with the support changes, Leona has a much better time getting gold, even if she doesn't dominate in her lane. With her long distance engage from her solar flare, she's able to catch up to nearly anyone with this mobility-focused meta. In lane, Leona has one of the most aggressive level 2 all-ins, as well as a strong engage. Leona can get deep into the enemy team with her Zenith Blade, and thanks to her Eclipse, she's able to become extremely tanky and outtrade her opponents. You will continue to see Leona's pick rate rise like the sun. Was that cheesy? Champions with the largest decrease in pick rate for the past week were led by Yasuo with a negative 1.64%, followed by Sivir, Taric, Fiddlesticks, and Olaf. Olaf has been one of the strongest junglers after the preseason patch. He has incredible clear in the jungle as well as strong ganks. By repeatedly landing his axe, he is able to permanently slow the enemy and chase him down with Ghost. Olaf is not only strong in the jungle, but the top lane as well. He is a great pick against melee champions because he's able to chunk them easily with the true damage from his Reckless Strike. Even against a ranged top laner, Olaf can farm and harass by leveling up his axe first. One of Olaf's biggest strengths is his ultimate, Ragnarok. This ultimate makes him immune to any kind of CC for a set duration, allowing him to be able to reach any backline without an issue. Even though his pick rate has decreased a little, he is still one of the stronger champions in this season. Following are the champs with the largest increase in win rate, and they are Kog'Maw leading with a 3.08%, followed up by Veigar, Poppy, Yasuo, and Vi. You'll regret fist pumping this girl, mainly because her fists are made out of metal. Vi has been a strong pick in the jungle since her release, and during the World Championships, Vi was a heavily picked champion due to the assassination combination with champs like Ahri and Zed. During the Battle of the Atlantic, we saw Meteos from Cloud9 NA play Vi with a super aggressive build, purchasing both Triforce and Brutalizer. Now, just because a pro did it does not mean you need to go and do this build every game in solo queue. In most situations, it's still better to go the standard tank jungle build. Even though Vi's win rate has gone up a bit, there are still better junglers out there in the current meta. Champions like Lee Sin, Olaf, and Evelynn still hold a higher priority. Our next top 5 champions are heading up the largest decrease in win rate for this past week. They are Talon with a negative 1.67%, followed by Cassiopeia, Rammus, Malzahar, and Maokai. It's not surprising that Cassiopeia's win rate has been dropping due to the fact that she just simply does not fit well into the current meta. Even with her movement speed boost, Cassiopeia is still an extremely immobile mage. In the laning phase, Cass tends to always push the lane, and that makes her a juicy target to the enemy jungler. Because she is extremely squishy with no escapes, a smart jungler can shut her down completely in lane. It's true that Cassiopeia can dish out tons of sustained damage with her Twin Fang, but her rough laning phase makes her a tough pick right now. Cassiopeia requires perfect positioning, so she's able to be safe and do as much damage as she can. With the meta being around mobility, she can easily be reached by champions like Olaf. Along with Sivir and Karma, reaching Cassiopeia in the backline is easier than ever. Champs with an increase in ban rate for this week are led by Yasuo with a 5.24%, followed by Dr. Mundo, Elise, Vi, and Kha'Zix. It's interesting that Yasuo's ban rate has been increasing, and this is due to multiple reasons. Most Yasuos we see in solo queue have a trend of either getting unstoppably fed, or they feed the enemy team like a homeless shelter. People have been banning Yasuo because they either don't want to deal with a fed one, or have one feeding on their team. Now, why is that the case for Yasuo? He has a really high skill cap like Syndra, Orianna, or Lee Sin. Due to this reason, we see some outrageous outliers in people's performance on this champion. The ability to block any projectiles from opponents is one of the biggest game-changing abilities this guy has to offer. Imagine blocking a Gragas ult or even a Nidalee spear, and then allowing your team to counter-engage. Yasuo also fits well in the meta due to his mobility. At max rank, his sweeping blade has a 0.1 second cooldown. As long as he has a target he can dash to, he is extremely tricky to catch. Finally, decrease in ban rate this week is led by Nasus with a negative 6.48% change, followed by Fizz, Evelynn, Lucian, and Sivir rounding out our top 5. Well, Nasus's ban rate continues to drop week after week. I guess players aren't afraid of dogs anymore. It's more likely due to the fact that there are so many champions like Kassadin and Evelynn that pretty much require a permanent ban in solo queue. With only 3 bans per team, it really limits ban options. Please Riot, 8 bans for Season 4, I believe. With Dr. Mundo, Shyvana, Kassadin, and Evelynn still in their current state, we will continue to see these champions being prioritized over some others like Nasus. But Nasus still holds a strong 34.2% ban rate, which is nearly 1 out of every 3 games. Just because his ban rate has gone down, it does not mean that you can ignore him. A Nasus that has been farming for 30 plus minutes will still be a terror on the Rift and something you always have to consider. And that's it for this week's show. Please be sure to subscribe to LoLKing on YouTube to keep up on these league trends, and be sure to subscribe to Cloth5 on YouTube for more great analysis. I'm Lindsay Geektron. Thanks for watching. I'm Lindsay Geektron.